Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
It was pointed out to me that on Election Day, the Democrat vote started out with a pretty healthy lead. And then the Republicans got off work. I love this. Good morning, here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. On a Monday, smile everybody, smile. Thank you very much. God bless America. Kate Smith, greatest song, greatest voice. Thank you very, very much. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch, and we're very, very glad to have you with us this morning. And our main sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call Kelly 734-6969. And now we introduce a lovely lady over at the studio, absolutely with the greatest personality, the greatest smile, the greatest work ethic. What else did you send me on the card? Here, let's see. I guess that's it.
Is that it? Did you get it all?
I think so. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am organized.
What?
Yes, I know. I heard a slight stutter and pause.
So you're using your binder then?
I'm not. Here's what I'm using. I'm not only using a binder because I've cleaned a lot of things up, but to simplify the El Meso on my El Desco, I went to a card system for the commercials.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Kind of like a Rolodex type card?
No. These are about what are the sizes? About 5 by 8 cards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on just a second.
Yeah. Smart Alec. Had to be very articulate. But anyhow, I'm going to try and see how this works.
Good for you. It always helps to be organized when, doing a job such as this.
Well, I know, but we all have old habits.
Yes, we do, that die hard.
Yes. Do we have a pledger?
We have Al on for the pledge and Mr. Michael Rogers on for the weather.
Very good. Al, good morning to you, sir.
Did I just hear you right? You cleaned up your desk?
And good morning to you, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'm beginning to wonder about that justice for all around Cadgett County.
Well, I know that you've got some real concerns over there in your neck of the woods with the new, what do you call that, kind of a transfer waste station that's possibly going to go in just right up the street from you, and I don't blame you for being upset.
Trying to put it into an old gravel pit, which is going to put all that crap down into our water system. Is that justice for all?
No, and I just might as well say right now, I tried to get some of the county commissioners to come on the program this Wednesday and talk about it, but evidently their schedule wouldn't permit, so we'll keep trying.
I've heard that line before.
Okay, Al. Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Ooh, I heard a big click right there on the line. Holy smokes, that about popped my ears off. Hey, it's time for the weather. And the weather is brought to you by our friends at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, 678-6945. Look for the blue door. You know what? They've got all the Christmas decorations over there and all the bedding and the pillows. And I'm telling you, Cheney Flooring and Home Design was created to give customers home design products that are aisles apart, not miles apart. They've got it all right there for you at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Stop in and see them today, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And right now, here's Michael Rogers' weather.
There is nothing more beautiful than watching the sun come up at 7:42 a.m. over Mount Harrison. It was just gorgeous this morning. Where am I going with this? Well, first off, good morning. Welcome to Seventh Ranch, where every day is a good day. Some days are better than others. This is Alaska weather at your finest. The only difference between this weather in Alaska and down here is that in Alaska, this would be a nice day. It's going to be sunny and cold all week long. You're going to get up to about 29 for today. You won't see 35 all week. You've got a slight chance of snow on Wednesday and Thursday, but it's still going to be cold. Other than that, you might want to throw a sweater on all week long, and if you happen to get up early in the morning, you want to see something really beautiful, just sit up there and watch that sun come up over Mount Harrison. It usually comes up right around 7:42, 7:45, right around there. I'm out of here. I'm back to Vegas. I've been here for a week. I'm tired of the cold. Enjoy the weather. And the weather you got.
All right. Great guy. Great weatherman. MichaelRogersWeather.com, brought to you by the folks that have everything you need to make your house a home. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Oh, my goodness sakes. Let's see what else have we got cooking here this morning. I got to get this in here real quick. Stand by. Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. at the College of Southern Idaho, room 277 Taylor Building. Free trade. It's never been about trading freely. And there's going to be a gentleman there talking about how these free trade agreements are absolutely a danger to us, the United States of America. And that gentleman's going to be on our program tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, at about 10:30. And Tom Munns is his name. But this meeting is tomorrow night, free, at the College of Southern Idaho, room 277 Taylor Building. Free trade. It's never been about trading freely. Okay. Hey, by the way, don't forget our friends at SafeLink Internet. Oh, my goodness sake, 677-8000, the number to call. And you will receive the first month free plus free installation. All you have to do is just call them. Your first month is free, and like I said, free installation when you order high-speed wireless internet from SafeLink Internet today. No contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data. You better call them right now. Oh, my, 677-8000. SafeLink Internet, serving you. Talk about service. You're going to love what happens when you go to Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Been talking about the restoration of items. Don't throw those old clothes or drapes or something special from the past away until you have Kevin take a look at it, because he may be able to restore it, and then you'll be so happy. And by the way, too, get all the drapes clean and all your clothes clean. I know that the holidays are right smack dab around the corner. You better be ready for them. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, 878-8900. They're waiting to serve you. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Absolutely pathetic. I mean, audience, listen to me this morning. This is not partisan. This is not really Republican or versus Democrat or vice versa. It's how we are being treated as American citizens and how we are being lied to by this administration. Now, I thought a lot about this morning earlier when I was putting my notes together for this program, and I thought, let's just start telling it like it is. Obama and his staff are liars. Now, that's going to offend a lot of people out there this morning, and they're going to say, how dare you have the lack of respect for the President of the United States to call him a liar? Well, on the other side of that coin, how dare the President of the United States, voted in by the people of the United States, have the audacity to lie, cheat, and steal from us? Why shouldn't he be called a liar? You know, Obama's lied to us, his staff has lied to us, certain doctors have lied to us about Obamacare. And this morning, a dear friend of this program, Dr. Elena George, it's the first time that I've ever actually seen her on television or seen a picture of her. She's been on my program numerous times from Atlanta, Georgia. She was on this morning at 4:30 this morning on Fox News, and a wonderful lady, and she really blasted the lies of this president and this administration. Enter Jonathan Gruber, one of Obamacare's writers. And he is absolutely saying that the American public is stupid. He said it now, what have they got counted on tape? 5, 6 times? But here is where the plot thickens. This man, Gruber, has been in the Oval Office. We, the taxpayers, have paid him over $6 million for his services as an accountant to help write up Obamacare. These are all facts. You can look them up. I suggest you do. And when asked by Fox News this morning, Ed Henry over in Brisbane, Australia, listen to this now. You can get the tape. You can get the tape. Obama said that, this is the first I've heard of this. And he said, I hardly knew Gruber. He was just kind of, there according to some times, and I didn't know him. Are you kidding me? The Democrats are seeking to distance themselves from this MIT economist, Jonathan Gruber, and they're trying to demote him as basically a mere advisor. And even John Kerry. Folks, listen, I'm not lying and making this up. Even John Kerry, Secretary of State, had a quote, according to Gruber, who has been our guide on a lot of this. It's somewhere in the vicinity of an $8 billion cost with a B. They were talking about Obamacare back in 2009. We are lied to. We are being lied to. And the President of the United States is number one on the lie list. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Who's one of the richest men in the world?
Oh, there's quite a few of them. Which one do you want?
Let's take Warren Buffett, for instance.
Okay.
Let's take the Keystone Pipeline.
All right. Now, wait a minute. Whoa, Keith, I'm going to stop you there. I'm not going to get off subject. I'm talking about Jonathan Gruber right now. If you have a comment about that, we'll stay with that. I'm not going to jump subjects real quick.
Okay, well, Jonathan Gruber has made a lot of money off of the American government.
Yep.
And now he's kind of tucked his tail between his legs, and he's not going to want to be one of them. But what precipitated this for him to bring this out in the open?
Oh, no. There were some people that started doing some investigation, and they started doing... See, there were some people in the news that had the guts, literally, to start checking on Jonathan Gruber and start checking on what he had said at various meetings, and they found out that this man was highly instrumental as one of the architects of Obamacare. And what gets me, Keith, is our president is a liar. President Barack, this is a direct quote. I'm going to read this to you, and I want you to respond. President Barack Obama was asked about the Gruber videos, telling Fox News' Ed Henry, quote, I just heard about this. What? The president just heard about this mess? He also called Gruber some advisor who never worked on our staff. The man was in the White House in the Oval Office. I am so sick of being lied to. I don't know about you.
Yeah, when you sit down and you have a conversation with someone and you say, who is this man? No, I I just, impeachment, I guess, is impossible, but why can't the man tell the truth?
Okay,
Why don't he live up to when he was sworn in to support the Constitution and live by it, and he hasn't done one thing in that direction.
Well, look at Nancy Pelosi. It goes right on down through the Democrats. Lying is becoming a national event for the Democrats. Earlier this week, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi told reporters that she didn't know who Jonathan Gruber is. But you know what? She lied. It turned out that she was really praising him back in 2009 for his analysis on Obamacare. Aren't you fed up with these liars?
Yeah, I really liked your opening line this morning, though, that the Democrats were ahead at the beginning of the election, and then the Republicans got off of work.
There's a lot of truth to that, too. Keith, I got to do a commercial, buddy. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call.
There.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Have a good day.
You bet.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Hey, don't forget Valley White Home and Ranch. Oh, my goodness sakes, we're going to be over there on December 11th, and we're really looking forward to it for a great big remote for Christmas. It's going to be a lot of fun. December the 11th over at Valley White Home and Ranch, and they're located at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, they've got so much over there for you to get ready for the cold weather. Gloves, clothing, all the feed for your livestock, Ariat boots. They've got all your heat tape, propane heaters, everything. And stop in and have a cup of coffee. And they got a nice little snack bar there, and these folks are ready to serve you. Went over there the other day and had a nice visit with Eric and the staff, and I'm telling you, these folks are up and ready to serve you all winter long, but especially right now before Christmas and Thanksgiving. So you stop in. Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Caller, I'm coming. Stand by. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and the cold weather is here. I'm telling you what, don't get those cheap air filters for your furnace. No. Get the good ones, and make sure your furnace runs efficiently to keep you warm and keep your little tippy toes off that cold linoleum. I'll tell you what, Ramsey Heating and Electric, serving you at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about maybe impeachment on Obama. I liked Troy Gotti when he was on O'Reilly the other day. Did you see that?
I did. Go ahead.
Impeachment. Have you met Joe Biden? I thought that was great.
No, absolutely. Go ahead, Doug. I'm sorry. I was carrying on a three-way conversation, one with my wife and everybody else, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, the wife trumps me. You're forgiven.
Well, yeah, but you're on the air.
Yeah, so, no, I mean, the way the government is lying to us, I mean, just out and out lying, they get caught in a lie, and they lie more. Why in the heck, if we go in front of the government and lie to them, it's a felony.
Well, okay.
You go to prison for lying to the government.
Doug, here's a guy, this Gruber. I mean, this is really a wacky story. This Gruber is a very, very smart economist. He is an intelligent economist. And, quite frankly, I'm glad that he was honest on those tapes. And he's been caught now on tape at least a half a dozen times, and we still don't know if that's the bulk of it. And he basically has said the American voters are stupid, and he basically outlined how they had to steal money from Medicaid to make this work and that work. I mean, and then for Obama. I mean, think about this. The President of the United States makes an absolutely imbecilic remark, and he says on tape, on the news, well, I just heard about this. What?
Well, that tells me two things. One, that he's lying to cover it up, or two, he probably ought to get some more people around him that read the news and knows what's going on to inform him.
No, you're being too kind. Now, wait a minute. If you have a meeting if you, Doug, are invited to go and sit in the Oval Office with the president for a meeting, don't you even insinuate to me that you would give him a break because Obama and he were in the same room. And for Obama to say, well, yeah, I just heard about this, and I don't know who he is. He didn't help write our bill. Yes, he did.
I know it. Well, I'm not giving him a break. I'm saying incompetence behooves incompetence.
It's not incompetence. No, this is where you and I are going to disagree. You're a dear friend. It's not incompetence. It's absolute outright lying and cover-up.
Well, it is that. But this president is incompetent of doing a job, of leading a nation.
No, that I can't argue.
Lead is a group of people protesting against something. That's about all he's done.
Yeah.
And he cannot lead a nation. He cannot make a decision to go after ISIS or to go after anybody that's threatening this nation. The man is incapable of doing that.
Well, I agree, but I am so outraged. I don't like being lied to, especially by a politician that the American public, when they voted, I didn't like it, but I abided by it, and I said from the get-go, before this man was even elected, and you know this is true, I found him to be one of the most absolutely low-life people that we could possibly put in the presidential Oval Office, and I was right, and for everybody that condemn me, boy, I'm upset.
Yeah. Well, like Clint Eastwood said, Obama's the biggest scam that's ever been forced upon this nation.
I agree. Hey, Doug, always good to hear from you. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, I'm going to be right with you. Please, please, please bear with me. Don't go away. I'll be right back. I got to tell everybody, too, real fast about Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Oh, Thomas and Terry, the whole crew. You can get gift cards to give to the rest of the family, and they've out Christmas shopping, and all of a sudden they'll say, I'm hungry. They can go to Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley. And if you're having a birthday, you can get a free Grand Slam. Just show your ID. Oh, my goodness. And I'm looking at a picture of what they call the turkey dipper. It looks delicious. All the food is at Denny's Restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, 611 Overland in Burley. Holy smokes. We've got to, real quick, have the Capital Press Ag Minute, and it's brought to you by, and caller, bear with me, please do not go away. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, and you can bring any of the following in to help homeless children in our area. New or gently used coats, clothes, blankets, or toys for children ages 1 to 5. Please help, and stop in to Pacific Steel and Recycling, and you'll get $10 more per ton for scrap iron and a 5-cent bonus on aluminum. They want to help the community. They want to help you. Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. Here now, the Capital Press Ag Minute.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAg.com.
A Veering economist says the farm milk prices are in for a correction of 25 to 35% next year, and Class 3 prices could drop to as low as $15.50 per hundredweight by May before starting to rebound. Class 3 milk is used to produce cheese, and most of the 13 billion pounds of milk produced in Idaho each year is used to make cheese. Milk prices have been extraordinarily high this year, but producers should brace for a significant correction. World milk production is about 5% above what it was a year ago. The U.S. all-milk price will be about $24 per hundredweight for 2014, she says, and the USDA is estimating it will fall 20% to $19.30 in 2015.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at CapitalPress.com.
And brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling. Wonderful people, glad to have them back at 320 West Main in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. This whole thing is Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, and he's got 3 main things that Obama's been doing and all the Democrats and the liars. First, they polarize, let's take the Obamacare that you're talking about. They put the people versus the insurance companies, those without insurance versus those that do, and so forth. Then they demonize, and of course, anybody that opposes their plan, then that's going to be, they demonized. So anybody that's against their plan, the Republicans, none of them voted for this thing, of course. And the third is what's happening right now, is the deception and the lies. Those are the three tenets of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And by the way, the movie America is now on DVD and available at various places and online, I'm sure.
All right, now, Adrian, hang on just a second here. Stop. Sure. What bothers me the most about this whole mess is that the president acts so naive and so absolutely ill-informed. He's done this before. Remember all the stories of scandal? Well, I just heard about this. Well, somebody just came into my office and mentioned this. Well, I just read about it in the paper this morning, the same as everybody. And then on this scandal, he says, I just heard about this. Adrian, I don't know about you, but it's a chilling effect on me to think that the strongest, most powerful man in the world, governmentally wise, hears about it from somebody else.
Well, and you know, Gruber logged in 20 times into the White House, and nobody knows him? 20 times, and you know that he was in the Oval Office. And now, of course, he's as toxic as Obama was during the election a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he's totally toxic. Nobody knows this guy, and I can guarantee you, this is what's being carried out, is the Rules for Radicals and by Saul Alinsky. But, you know, we have a real constitutional crisis perhaps facing us this week, and if the Republicans don't stop the funding of he's going to do the amnesty thing, and if we don't get hold of our senators to stop the funding, if they give a concurrent resolution to fund this thing, we're screwed.
Well, I've got Frosty coming up next hour.
Everything else.
I've got Frosty coming up next hour to talk about that. Adrian, I got to get a break in. Thank you so much. Always appreciate your call. You're spot on.
Have a great day. We need to take a stand, folks. We're about to lose our Constitution.
Amen. Amen. And real quick, I want to tell everybody, and then I'll take some more phone calls. This is so disgusting to me. And I guess I've got a little grudge match going on. I got to be honest. Against the people in this area that came out in 2008 and prior to that, when Obama first started running, and I criticized Obama. I said, no, he's not the man for the job, and I laid all this out. I am going through the archives of all the emails from all the people that condemn me and all those frivolous statements of hatred against me standing up against Obama. And I'm going to come right back at you, because you absolutely were duped. You were duped by this liar. And that's what he is. You got to call it what it is and who it is. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, Eli, Nick, and the whole crew. 3 locations, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and the new one, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have the equipment to get any job done right. Absolutely. With their 3 locations, they've got all the Coyote tractors, the Bobcats, the Doosan loaders, the Walker mowers for next year. I mean, man, they've got it all. And believe me, whether you're leasing or buying, they can and will help. At Barry Equipment and Rental. Nice people, really caring for you to get the job done. Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental. Really, really good folks. Hey, by the way, real quick, and then I'll take some more calls. Thanksgiving wishes are out starting this morning. And Searles, nice people at 106 North Center Street in Oakley, 862-7887, with the Salt City candles and the hot stuff pizza and the soft serve ice cream and locally grown beef. Best burgers and fries in town with their specially baked buns. Searles in Oakley, along with Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. The Golden Valley Warehouse owners and staff would like to thank everybody and all their customers for another year in business of selling quality seed to quality people, and they wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. As do the folks at Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Magic Valley Irrigation, serving Southern Idaho for over 30 years for all your irrigation needs, including aluminum pipe repair. I'll tell you, these are people that are really proud to serve the Mini-Cash agricultural community. Jeff and his staff at Magic Valley Irrigation. And don't forget, they wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Ouch. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I watched the interview and the press conference where Fox News' Ed Henry asked the question about Gruber and about this mess with Obamacare. And the look on Obama's face was one of absolute hatred. I mean, he had a look in his eye like, you, Ed Henry, I'm going to get you. And now we're finding out that one of the women that used to be a reporter on MSNBC, and she was warned by her hierarchy at MSNBC not to report on certain mathematical facts about Obamacare. She then quit, and she went over to Fox Business News Channel, and she's coming out now with stories about how she was threatened with her job because she started doing the math on Obamacare and it didn't add up. Ladies and gentlemen, this may not seem like a big deal to you, but it's hurt so many people and is going to continue. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Obamacare is going to keep on hurting and taking away and costing people a lot of money and their coverage. You should be incensed. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Gruber and the liar-in-chief had always planned on the Bolshevik newspapers to cover for them. They weren't expect a backlash like this, what's happening right now. And this guy Gruber has made something like $6 million. Lying to the American people and doing what he's done. He still has his job at MIT.
Paid for by you and I. Don't you feel fortunate, Tony Salerno, my dear friend, that you and I have helped contribute to his lavish lifestyle and his children's education with $5.9 million paid to him since about 2006 so that he could go on lying and creating a more fraudulent Obamacare.
I feel warm and cozy about that, and I'd be interested in knowing how much taxes he's going to pay on that and how much of that money has been shuffled over to Barack Obama's personal account.
I can't intimate or make any inclusion on that in my conversation because I don't have those facts. I'm not going to say anything that is not a fact. I have these facts in my hand in black and white about the lies and the innuendos from John Kerry and Nancy Pelosi and especially Barack Hussein Obama. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that we have been lied to about Obamacare. And now there's other subjects, other scandals where he has said, well, I didn't know about that. I heard about it. I read about it in the paper, or somebody came in and told me. Tony, this is either the most naive president we've ever had in the Oval Office or the biggest liar. You pick.
Well, we're going to have problems with him even after he gets out of office because he'll be in touch with all the anti-American organizations going.
I agree. Always good to hear from you, my friend. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, me again.
Yes, sir.
Did you watch that TV show the other night when he was over in Australia getting ready to get away for that G20?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about this morning.
I tell you, he can stand there in front of them Australian people and lie like a damn rug, and I'm telling you what, American people, wake up to the fact you're being duped. If you're going to stand by and let it happen, we got what we got coming to us.
Yeah, Al, how can you, about certain facts and scandals, the IRS, well, I heard about this, it just came into my office, or about the Benghazi, well, I read about it the same time you did in the paper, or this one, well, I just heard about this. Al, this president is absolutely doing a song and dance routine and a tap dance on the truth, and he does it every day.
Well, he's an incompetent government boob, and they ought to put a stop to it, but you got Boehner ain't got the guts enough to say, well, we're going to put a stop to you, Mr. President. Don't talk about it, Mr. Boehner. Do it.
No, that's a valid point. I don't want to see this camera-ready answer like with McConnell or Boehner or anybody else. I want action. I think that they should absolutely be censuring the president. I think they should even be entertaining thoughts of, you know something? You've lied to the American public. And I haven't even started on immigration yet this morning, Al. This man, they're afraid to impeach him. I'm not. Throw the bum out.
That's right. I mean, let's face it. If you want to keep going like you're going, people, it's our fault because we're too damn lazy to do anything about it. But you got Congress and that should stop. Fact is, they can stop it right now. All funding ceases as of today.
Yeah, I don't mind if there is a government shutdown. I think they ought to just say, whoop, wait a minute, padlock the doors. This is turned into a fiasco.
Yeah. Okay, have a good one.
God bless you, Al. Thanks. Appreciate it. I know, as sure as I'm sitting here this morning in an old black sweatshirt, caller, I'm coming, hang on, that there are people in the audience that are absolutely outraged because I called the president a liar. I will not back up because that's what it amounts to. You can't say things in the past and then say different things today, or know of things in the past and then disavow them today. And don't give me this, oh, well, he's such a busy man, I'm sure it slipped his mind. Don't go there. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Hi. You guys have been talking about Obamacare, and I had gotten the insurance maybe probably the beginning of this year, and I only needed to pay $35 a month, and they cover really well. Well, I don't qualify for the tax credit because I don't make enough money. Mm-hmm. So my premium's going to be $242 a month.
So it's skyrocketed literally about, what, 600-700%?
Yeah.
My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you because, and please do not be offended by this when I say this, please, but you were duped into thinking this was a good deal, were you not?
Yes. Yeah, because I only needed, to qualify for the grant, I needed to make between $11,000 and $15,000.
Yeah.
And so I got the grant. Well, now I don't make enough. I have to make at least $23,000 to even qualify for that grant, to get the discount on affordable insurance.
And so by not being under their qualification scheduling on income, you are seeing an increase from, again, pardon me, you said like $35 a month, is that correct?
Yes.
To all the way to what?
$242.
Oh, you bring tears to my eyes because I feel so sorry for you. And let me just ask the bottom line. What are you going to do?
I'm going to have to cancel.
And have nothing?
Yes.
Please, I'm not trying to be at all trite when I say this. God bless you, and I pray for you, and I hope things go better, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
You see what I'm talking about? This whole thing was just it's kind of like fishing. Kind of like fishing. You talk to other fishermen, hey, what are they biting on today? Oh, well, we're using a spinner with this, that, and the other. All right, I'll try that. And then they start biting, and you start catching them. And then all of a sudden, bingo, everything comes to a halt. This is so frustrating, and I pray for that lady. I really do. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
I thought maybe you were going to do a commercial.
No, I tell you something, Randy. I am so mad over the duping of the American public with this absolutely disgusting president and his administration. There's words. I'm even going to have to be careful like you. I can't find the right words.
Well, it's a shame that I have a habit of cussing, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Since 2008, it has become, my frustration level is so high because of the lying And to call this president a liar is an understatement. He lied to us when he on the campaign trail in 2008, and he's been lying ever since. And, only now are, I guess, some of the people waking up. But you see, when he tells us he cares about this lady that just called.
Yeah.
And she sounds like she's probably doing her best.
Yep.
And she's under the pressure of societal idealism. In other words, because the ends justify the means, ma'am, it's all right to put you in the vice. You see, the only time this is going to change for any of us is for us to get off of our, not talking to you, ma'am, but all of us to get up and be proactive and do something. Now, the election was a very good sign. And hopefully you, again, will hold this bunch accountable.
Yeah, wait a minute. Stop right there. Stop right there, Randy. I can't let you ramble because you made a good point. Right there, I hope and I pray, and I'm going to do all I can on this program to hold their feet to the fire so that they burn their bunions and get the job done. Because if they start being slovenly, I don't care if it's Crapo, I don't care if it's Risch, I certainly don't care if it's Simpson or Labrador, I'm going to nail them. I'm going to nail them, and I'm going to call them for what they are. Because they cannot be charlatans and snake oil salesmen anymore. They've got to get the job done for the American public.
Well, this is the reason why the personal mandate, in other words, one of the things on the campaign trail that was brought up was the personal mandate. In other words, forcing you to buy insurance whether or not you wanted to or not.
Yep.
I know we need, in June of this coming year, the Supreme Court is going to make a big decision on whether or not this law has been written with such a terrible flaw in it that it may just dissolve under its own weight.
Yeah, but right now, I don't see, you talk about the dissolution of Obamacare, and we're in so deep, and there's so many intangibles about people that have lost coverage, et cetera, et cetera. This is an absolute mess. Randy, I got to do a weather forecast.
Yeah, one thing quick.
Yeah.
Channel 7 out of Boise, NBC.
Yeah, real fast. Go ahead, yeah. What?
They continue to promote this thing like it's something that is good, and then the new Idaho exchange is a new time for enrolling. They don't bring up the story that I just heard across this state that is affecting people's lives. Where are you, Channel 7, NBC? You care about the people of Idaho?
I agree.
Prove it.
I agree with you. Randy, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Caller number 2, I know you're there. Please have patience for 60 seconds. I got to get the weather in real quick, please. Brought to everybody by Mad River Laser. Boy, I'll tell you what, they've got everything. They've got all the Carhartt jackets over there, and they're ready to embroider with your company name and your name on them. And she can make, of course, all the rubber stamps for your business. She's got all the buck knives over there, 10% off with free engraving. Mention my name. Oh, the caps, the hoodies, everything, T-shirts, it's all there at Mad River Laser. Beautiful business, nice people. Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Stop in and see them today. And right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Michael Rogers was up at the ranch where every day is a good day, some days are better than others. Let me tell you about this weather. This is Alaska weather at its finest. I'm telling you right now, and trust me, I know this because I lived there 31 years. The only difference between this weather and now is that this is a nice day in Alaska. It's cold down here. And by the way, you're going to be cold all week. 29 for the high today, 10 above for the overnight low. There's a slight chance of snow for Wednesday or Thursday, but other than that, it's just going to be cold all week. Hey, keep a sweater on. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael Rogers. Brought to you by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Caller, thank you very much for your patience. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yep, I realize there's people that are hurting, but some of these people, and I feel sorry for the woman, but if you're not making enough to pay for that, you've got to better yourself. You can't expect other people to pay for it. I know several people that work 2 jobs in order to buy their insurance, and I realize some people hurt, some people can't, but you got to better yourself.
But there again, though, caller, I agree with you. I agree with the lady. So far, I'm in agreement with every single call because of the different angles this story approaches. But she felt like she had been lied to and basically taken advantage of, and I don't blame her. Because if
I agree totally. You know, we've all been lied to, but unless people like Al says, get in agreement and kick this guy out. This is what we got.
But see,
people elected him.
There is,
and we're going to suffer some hardships. You've got to bear it and grin and bear it.
You know as well as
somebody else.
You know as well as I do, caller. Just a minute, please don't run away. You know as well as I do that right now you mention the word impeachment or replacement or going after and pressing charges against the president and his staff. The Republicans have not shown the backbone for that ever. And quite frankly, I don't think things are going to change that much with McConnell. I certainly don't think things are going to change with Boehner. And it's going to be you, it's going to be me, it's going to be everybody waving pitchforks in the air and saying, get the job done or else. Honestly, I've used this word before. Wait a minute, please, just a minute. Let me finish. I want you to respond to it. And I think I've used this word before in the past, and I'm going to say it again. It's going to come down to a public revolution because they're not working for us.
I agree. We should have eliminated those two leaders in the Senate and Congress. Those two they're career politicians. They're not going to go against this president, hell or high water.
I agree.
They're just not going to do it.
Thank you for your call. I appreciate it, and God's blessings to you. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I had so many other stories I wanted to talk about this morning, but this one just, honestly, Deanne and I talked about this. It just makes my skin crawl. It makes my skin crawl to think that they can lie to the American public. And here's somebody else that's liable over this. The worthless media. Now, I don't care if we're an ABC affiliate. I couldn't care less. I'm going to say what I feel, and I'm going to say what's on my heart. I don't care if it's ABC, CBS, NBC. I don't care who it is. They're not doing the job. They are not telling you what's going on. They're not telling you about the lies. They are not telling you about the scandals, and they better start fessing up. It's a mess. This Obama administration will go down in history, if anybody is allowed to write it, as the most repugnant ever in the history of the United States. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Absolutely delicious cinnamon rolls. Oh, they've got a bakery over there. Wedding cakes, cookie bars, homemade bread, delicious cinnamon rolls. I'm drooling right now. I've been on this doggone diet for 2 months. I want to eat. And they've got breakfast, lunch, or supper, and it's delicious. Monday through Friday, 6 to 6. Saturdays and Sundays, 6 to 2. Sophie's Chatterbox on the Square in Rupert. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, I kind of have to disagree with the last caller and, saying that we need to get out there and really get after it and better ourselves. I work a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs just to make my ends meet. Plus, my wife works. She works a full-time job and then takes care of the kids. And we make $27 too much. So my premium for the insurance is $517 a month.
Oh, my goodness.
For my family.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to go get another full-time job just to be able to cover that bill.
The qualification system is absolutely asinine, and I want to go back to what you started off with, and I think you're right the way you phrased this. There are many people from different situations. There are single moms. There are people that have maybe 2 adults. One is incapacitated through injuries or whatever, and maybe they've still got kids in school. I mean, the list goes on, and the litany goes on of different options and different, basically, human stories categories that fall into this Obamacare. But the bottom line is they've got you to the point where when they wrote Obamacare, they figured all the angles so that it was like playing the house at the gambling casino. You're going to lose, they're going to win.
Well, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
There you go.
And at this point, it's either I just throw my hands in the air and say, well, I guess we don't have insurance. Well, my wife broke her ankle in April of last year. She couldn't work for 3 months. I'll tell you what, this is one fat boy that had to tighten his belt.
I can absolutely appreciate it. And by the way, I've got to do a commercial, but I just want to say, please, from my heart to your home, happy Thanksgiving, and I hope it's a good one, okay?
You too.
Thank you, sir. Nice people. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. I got to tell everybody about winter driving. Man, oh man, the other day on Friday when the roads got all souped up and frozen up, my goodness, there was a car off here. There was a pick-em-up truck over here. There were a couple of semis over here. Hey, you got to be careful out there, winter driving. Again, check all the winter driving tires at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've got all the traction tires. They've got all the tires pinned for studs. They've got all your tire chains. They've got the very best in brake service. I mean, they know and they care. You better stop in today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Winter driving is going to be nasty. They can help at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I got 1 minute real fast.
Yeah, what we got to do is call our senators and our representatives and tell them to get tough on this immigration deal.
Well, we're going to be talking about that next hour with Frosty, so I'm glad you brought it up. It's a precursor of what we're going to be talking about.
Call them and tell them to get tough and tell them to... tell their representatives they've got to stop this crazy president who's signing that with a stroke of the pen, letting them guys have amnesty.
I agree with you. Fred, I got to run to the news, but we'll talk about it next hour. Thank you, my dear friend. God bless. Thank you. We're going to take a few minutes to rest and relax and kind of regroup, and we invite you to stay tuned. ABC News is next. We'll be back in 6. Sev at the Ranch. Don't go away. Well, look on the bright side. In 39 minutes and 45 seconds, we will be down to only 794 days left of Obama as president. Just thought I'd throw that out. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And also our big thanks go out to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, thank you very much. Call Kelly and the crew and get on the route service at 734-6969. And I'll tell you what, the best of residential service to get rid of your garbage. They really care. And they've got the porta potties for special events. There's even events, of course, during the winter, you know, like skiing trips and tobogganing and everything. Need a porta potty, they got them. And don't forget, too, great dumpsters in various sizes to clean out that garage, that basement. All you have to do is fill it up. They'll come get it. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them 734-6969. Absolutely the best. By the way, I want to remind you, now listen to me carefully. Disregard anything that is printed in the paper that may be wrong about the Golden Heritage Pilgrim Pride dinner. I know I'm right because I'm putting it on. It's going to be this Thursday, the 20th, at the Golden Heritage Senior Center. Once again, I want to reiterate, it's going to be at the Golden Heritage Senior Center this Thursday, the 20th, starting at 5 p.m. Great big Pilgrim Pride Thanksgiving dinner, and it's only $5 per ticket. Turkey and ham and all the trimmings, door prizes, raffles, games. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bring the whole family. This Thursday, the 20th. Okay? Got you covered. Also, real fast, because I got a guest waiting, I want to remind you about Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, the manager. Family place with flexible hours serving your family. Please call them at 436-5636. When there's the passing of a loved one, everything gets thrown up in the air, and you need help. Professional help that absolutely will get the job done for you and your family. Joel Heward and Hanson Mortuary. They always treat everyone with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. My dear friend is on the line, and I can't wait to talk to him this morning because of all the things that are going on. We talked first hour extensively about Obamacare and the lying to the American public. Well, it continues on with this next subject because we're going to be talking about immigration. And I'm going to have facts and figures and quotations going back to 2006, before Obama even became president, about, oh my, more lies about immigration. But right now, let's say good morning to a dear friend in Colorado. Frosty Woolridge, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm just thrilled to be with you this Monday, and missed you last Monday. Of course, I was speaking to the Men's Republican Club, which was also attended by quite a few women. And as you know, the listeners on Zeb at the Ranch have heard me for over 5, 6, 7 years now, so you are not shocked at the figures that I bring down. But on Monday, when I talked about adding 100 million immigrants, legal immigrants to America, to this Republican Men's Club, and all the women that were there, they literally were just shocked when I started putting it into perspective, what it means, doubling the population of our 35 most populated cities, and I gave the examples. But what I really brought down on their heads was the fact that we're importing 140 different countries with 140 different worldviews and 140 different languages, and of course 140 different cultures, and all of them had failed their citizens, and that's why these citizens fled to America. And I told them, how many of you think that any Muslim that comes to this country, any Ethiopian, any Congolese, Sudanese, Somalian, Indian from the subcontinent of India, or Chinese, how many of them share the American culture, the American way of life, the American worldview? And of course the answer is none of them. And that's why we're fracturing our country so fast and fragmenting ourselves, because of so many different people. And I even said to the people in the program that were there, it was actually pretty much standing room only, actually, that we have 172 different languages here in the Denver Public Schools. And why is it that we have over 50 to 67% dropout flunk-out rates? They were stunned. They don't know this stuff, and they don't understand the implications of it. And so they sat there shocked, and then they brought on the questions, and I answered the questions, and I said, at the end, we need to reduce all immigration to less than 100,000 people per year, and we really need to bring them in from compatible countries, and only if they will benefit our country, not overload it and overrun our schools with our languages and our medical care systems with too many people, and of course our welfare system. So it was quite an interesting 30 minutes with this club here in Denver, Colorado.
Okay, but Frosty, let me play kind of a devil's advocate somewhat on this situation. I would have much rather had it been the National Democratic Party that was sitting in front of you, because then you, with your fire in your eye, you could have looked them in the eye and told them exactly where they've messed up this country over the last 20 years. The Republicans, I'll bet, basically agreed with you, even though there was some shock and awe, but I would have rather had it been the Democrats, because you really need to educate them.
Well, and that's why I actually, the piece that I wrote that many of you read, was turning America and other first world countries into third world refugee camps. I published that on Op-Ed News, and I was amazed that they would do that. I mean, that's a highly liberal site, because I do try to educate the liberals out there. And I actually spoke to a Democratic club down in Colorado Springs, I guess a year or so ago, and I said, here's what we're facing. And right there with all the facts and the figures and how unsustainable adding 100 million immigrants was, all of the women in that Democratic club down there in Colorado Springs. But we've just got to save all these people, and so we've got to extend and give them a chance for a better life. And even with all the facts, so you have to understand that Democrats have a different view also, and it's what I call, and you can back this up, it's called cognitive dissonance. Mm-hmm. And that means intellectual denial of reality. And so that's what we're facing, and that's what we're dealing with here. That's why these people who are pushing for more immigration, and that's why the Democrats who voted for 2 million legal immigrants per month in the Senate 744 bill amnesty there, that was introduced last year and passed the Senate, they don't understand the consequences, and they don't. They are a cognitive dissonance. They are literally intellectually in denial of reality. And so it's very hard to get facts and figures across to people who are just plain dumber than a box of rocks.
Well, and, I'm glad you ended it on layman's terminology, because, quite frankly, that's the way it should be. They are dumber than a box of rocks. I am so sick and tired of this liberal ploy of, we've got to be our brother's keeper. No, you're flooding the system to the point where now, with the 4.5 million that he might have as an amnesty control, we, the American taxpayer, may very possibly have to pay the full boatload of money for them to be involved in Obamacare, which is another story all in itself. Frosty, I salute you. I applaud you for the many years that you've been on this program, telling everybody about illegal immigration, telling everybody about the travesties that are going on, and also telling about the lies that this administration has tried to perpetrate. Since 2006, before this man was even president, he came out with a statement back in 2006, and I quote, that an influx of illegal immigrants will harm the wages of blue-collar Americans and put strains on an already overburdened safety net. That's what he said in 2006, and look how he has changed today.
And I would add to this that most Americans don't understand the consequences. And I would ask you to go. I had a 2-hour in-depth interview on Saturday night with a lady named Solaris Blue Raven, and she's quite articulate, and she stands up for the American woman. And the interview is on my Facebook page, folks. Just go to Frosty Wooldridge, WOOLDRIDGE, my Facebook page, and you will see the 2 parts of the Solaris Blue Raven interview. And she said point blank, Muslims just don't work in America. They can't, and they won't assimilate, and they will become completely separate. And she said, if an American liberal women and American women understood that Islam is totally out to stamp out the women's voice, the women's right to choose, the women's right to their bodies, the women's right to speak up and speak out, or the fact that they push for arranged marriages, and of course women suffer over 5,000 honor killings every year in Muslim lands. We now have women getting killed here in this country and beheaded by Muslims. Of course, I've given plenty of examples of that. The last one was in the processing plant there in Moore, Oklahoma this last August, and so forth. And she just said, if anybody understood what Muslims really stand for, whether they're moderate, immoderate, or extremists, they're all Muslims, and they simply don't fit into America, and certainly their crushing of women's rights cannot be tolerated in our country. And she said, we need to stop all Muslim immigrants and actually need to kick them out of our country, because they're an anachronism. They're a 6th century barbaric religion. And I was just delighted that she really understood the consequences. So if you want to hear that interview, it's 2 hours long. I cover everything. And of course, you and I cover so much on this show. But the American people are just naive to what we're importing, and that's 140 different worldviews, 140 different languages, and all these failed cultures that couldn't feed or house or work their own people. We're simply becoming a refugee camp, and I'm going to continue to sound that alarm, Zeb.
Okay, now I want you to put that right in perspective as to this being Monday, November 20th, okay? Or pardon me, November, what did I say, 17th? Yeah, it should be the 17th. What's he going to do? What is this president going to do? I know that I don't trust him. I know that he will supersede his powers. I know that he'll step on the Constitution. I know that he'll go around Congress. What do you, Frosty Woldridge, predict in the next couple of days that this man is going to do?
I think he's not going to just step on the Constitution. He's going to put it into the shredder. He's going to put his heel on the Constitution. He is going to crush the American public with this executive order, and this guy is he is a lawless dictator. He has already proven that, and so we are as an American people, we must stand up, and you will see on my website on the Facebook today. It's called Obama's Amnesty: Grave Threat to Our Country. Take action. I have got the two links for the 2-hour interview that I just did. I also have the addresses of Bob Schieffer, David Muir, Diane Sawyer, Scott Pelley, Charlie Rose, Megan Kelly, Shepard Smith, Brett Hume, Robert Siegel, Terry Gross, Steve Inskeep, Leslie Stahl, and right on down the line. I've got their addresses. I've got their contacts. You, the American citizen, you need to get this piece, and you need to follow through. I've got all of the addresses: Hannity, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, O'Reilly. I've got the Evening News, and you have to write letters, and you have to tell them your displeasure and that you will not accept this president or this amnesty in any condition whatsoever. I've even got Meet the Press and Face the Nation and Hardball. The key is that each and every one of us must get on the phone, must get on the email, and absolutely bring this thing to the forefront and force it to absolutely stop this president from any kind of an amnesty, because it will be an amnesty that will absolutely destroy African Americans' jobs, Hispanic American jobs, and certainly for just European Americans, white Americans that don't have high school degrees. It's going to flood the market with all this cheap labor and all this illegality, and then it's going to allow these illegals to become legal, and then they can chain migrate literally millions of their families. This thing has got far-reaching consequences. So that's what I'm encouraging everyone to do. And you can get it on my Facebook, or you can get it on Freedom's Phoenix or Liberty News Online right now, or certainly it'll be on newswithviews.com tomorrow. So I do have a plan, and I hope everyone jumps all over this. It has to be a national uproar, Zeb.
Oh, I know that. But also there are underlings in this schematic of Obama's that we need to target, and we need to aim at, and we need to throw out of office. Let me give you one. Let me give you one man's name that I absolutely find detestable, and that's California Governor Jerry Brown. As of this morning, the California Department of Motor Vehicles is going to have to work overtime for an endless period of time to process illegal alien driver's license. This is nuts, and Jerry Brown is the one that advocates it.
He is, and again, he's a man who is just in lockstep with the illegality of Barack Obama, and he is out of step with the reality of the fact that California is going to be our first failed state. I mean, it's got $10 billion worth of debt every year because of illegals. It's got the largest underground economy where no one's paying taxes, but they're sucking off the entire welfare systems, the food stamp systems, the Section 8 housing systems. You've got the most criminals in jail are all illegal aliens and legal aliens, immigrants in California. You've got California growing by 1,655 immigrants every friggin' day of the year. And California is not going to survive this thing. And now that he's legalizing these illegals with driver's licenses, you're going to see even greater, literally a greater illegality and lawlessness that will be encouraged. And at some point, California is going to fall through the cracks. It's going to fail as a state here in the United States of America.
Let me ask you this, and I've only got about 6 minutes left here, but I want you to elaborate on this a little bit. When you were giving your speech the other day in Denver, and you went through all the litany of facts, and then when you asked the audience, and I'm assuming you did at the end of your speech, for a call to action and get up and do something, what did you tell them to do? I mean, are they going to get a hold of Mitch McConnell? Are they going to get a hold of their legislators, state senators, and congressmen? Are they going to grab them by the short end of the necktie and pull it tight and say, now listen to me, because I am the voting public? What did you tell them to do?
I actually gave them a 2-page handout exactly what they could do, and whether they were on email or whether they were on phone or whether they're on snail mail. I gave them 2 pages of all the addresses to write, the emails to write, and all the information they needed, and I would help them. I've given them my email address, of course, frostyw@juno.com. I said, go to my website, the facts and figures. I told them to go to CAPS, CAPSWEB.org to get those numbers, and numbersusa.org. I told them about spreading the 2 videos by Roy Beck to the whole 4 corners of America. So yes, I gave them, I'm a teacher, so I gave them homework. And they were all excited. In fact, one of them said, would you please come to my club and speak this coming month? And I said, absolutely, I will. And so, they're moving. And again, hopefully every person listening to Zeb at the Ranch is taking advantage of the homework assignment that I'm giving you. Get that 2-hour video, that 2-hour with Solaris, Blue Raven, get that out to everyone on the internet. I've sent it to if you go on Facebook, you'll find Robert Siegel there, you'll see Matt Lauer there, you'll see Brian Williams, you'll see Lester Holt, you'll see everybody, and you can write them and tell them what you want. Create a massive uproar across the country with those media moguls. You can get on Katie Couric. I mean, Facebook's got every, Megyn Kelly. I sent her both links to the show. I said, here's what we face. You do the same thing. Everyone listening today, get on Facebook, get into those people who are the media people, and get this thing to the forefront and have an uproar so great that this president cannot do this to us, and we're going to force him by public opinion to back down.
All right.
We have to. Otherwise, we will become victims of Barack Obama's legacy, and that is to overwhelm our country with illegal aliens and legal immigrants and Muslims and everybody else that's trying to destroy our country.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, these people are destroying the fabric and the cohesiveness and the language and the culture of America. We've got to stop it, Zeb.
I agree. We've got time for one quick call. Caller, real fast question, or I'm going to have to cut you off. Fast, go.
Yes, Frosty, Senator-elect Gardner, is he, what is his opinion about this? Is he going to be a good ally for us? And I'll hang up.
Go ahead, Frost.
Thank you. And yes, we were thrilled that Cory Gardner won the senatorship away from Mark Udall. It was a huge victory. We did lose. Bob Beaupre lost by 48,000 votes with Hickenlooper, but the big key was Cory Gardner. Cory Gardner is going to give our country a better chance. He hasn't enunciated as much, but this man's going to stand up for America, whereas Mark Udall was a lay-down. In fact, he was disgusting in his ability to allow illegal immigration and mass immigration to overwhelm the United States. And so I have high hopes for Cory Gardner, and I am thrilled that the Congress and the Senate are now in the hands of Republicans to neutralize Barack Obama from destroying our country any further with his edicts and his dictatorial reign across America. And he's got 2 months and about 1 month. He's got 2 years, 1 month, and 2 weeks to do more destruction. But at least we can counter him now with owning both the Republican and the House and the Republican Senate. So I'm hopeful.
I can tell you exactly how long he has left in office with my Obama Last Day counter that was given to me by the lovely Miss Vicky. He has 17 minutes, 48 seconds, and 795 days.
That's too much.
That's right. Hey, listen, I got to run. Kudos to you. Keep up the good fight. You know I'll keep up the good fight here. We're not going to go down unless it's swinging. And I'll tell you what, we're still taking a poke at everything. Go ahead and stay that way, Frosty, because I love the way you're fire in the eye and you're really putting forth the information the public needs to listen to.
Thank you, Zeb. We will keep the fire in the belly, and I will be glazing and glaring out there and absolutely get this information to the American people. I will stand with you all the way, and we are going to succeed. This is our country. This is our English language. This is our Constitution, and we're going to stand up for it because we're American.
Amen. God bless you, my dear friend. Take care. Thank you so much. Frosty Woldridge in Golden, Colorado. Hey, don't forget Whipple's Book Plaza with Colonel Dale, one of the nicest men you'll ever meet anywhere, anytime. Well, he's got Whipple's Book Plaza at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 10 to 5:30, and boy, have they got great gift ideas for you. Books and gifts and so much more. Jewelry, art, cards, you name it, it's all there. Thousands of books at Whipple's Book Plaza. For your gift giving, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Really nice people. By the way, happy Thanksgiving wishes are out, and Burley Glass at 1029 Overland in Burley with Gentle Ben and the crew, helping you keep the cold weather outside with the best of windows with Western Windows. Call today at 678-1459. Best wishes for a very happy Thanksgiving. Burley Glass located at 1029 Overland in Burley. And Sandy Sewing Center, this is a nice lady at 1234 Oakley Avenue in Burley, and she is Magic Valley's sewing authority. Gigantic selection of fabric and huge selection of polar fleece, and she can fix your sewing machine. Sandy Sewing Center, 1234 Oakley Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see her today. And last but not least, Easy Money and Pawn and Auto. These are really, really nice folks, and they've helped us on this program many times. They're located at 200 Overland in Burley, and they have a Christmas toy drive. Bring in an unwrapped toy and enter your name to win one of 3 packages: the Sportsman's Package, Entertainment Package, Automobile Package. Wow. Happy Thanksgiving from Easy Money Pawn and Auto at 200 Overland in Burley. Really nice people. Oh, we got to run. Our next guest is waiting in the wings as we speak right now this morning. And I also want to quickly remind you that the Golden Heritage Senior Center will have the first annual Pilgrim's Pride Thanksgiving dinner coming up this Thursday, November 20th, from 5 to 7 p.m. And it's only $5 per ticket, turkey and ham and all the trimmings, door prizes, raffles, games, the way it used to be hundreds of years ago. Going to be a lot of fun. Golden Heritage Senior Center on Thursday, this week, the 20th, at 5 p.m. Also, real quick, I want to remind you about Let's Ride, and they're located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, where the fun is sold. Oh, they've got something for everybody over there, and they're going to have a big open house this next weekend. Yes, sirree, huge discounts, door prizes, food, yes, they are. And farmers, you've worked hard all year. Get yourself a brand new snow machine and head for the hills and ski around in that angel dandruff at Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, 436-4771. Whew, we're late. Got to get this lovely lady on the phone. Good morning to the Alliance Defending Freedom, Carrie Kupek. How are you this morning?
Good, Zab. Good to be here with you this morning.
Now, I just turned on the television the other day, and I was sitting there sipping on a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden, there was the smiling face of this lovely brunette smiling at my wife and I, and we said, we know that girl.
Yeah, I was on talking about, I think, what we're talking about this morning.
Carrie, I got to be very honest and very serious with you. I think now, more than ever before, It's a call to Christians everywhere, and it's a call to people that believe in our Constitution. They have to stand up and they have to say, enough is enough. When you have a school district tell students that they can't pray during their free time, that's not only an infringement on their rights as the Constitution, but it's an absolute infringement on their minds. And I draw the line, and I'm ready to fight. Tell me about it.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's really sad. This is a school we're talking about, a school that's supposed to be, a marketplace of ideas, a place where one would think educators would be encouraging students to exactly what you said, use their minds and exchange ideas, exchange thoughts. But that's not what's happening in this Colorado school, this Pine Creek High School. They're doing the opposite and censoring and shutting students down just for talking about God. And we have a high school senior named Chase Windebank. And for the last 3 years, so since he's been a freshman, he and some of his classmates have been getting together during designated free time in this period called seminar. And they get together, they pray for their fellow classmates sometimes, they sometimes sing, they talk about the issues that matter to them from a religious perspective. And they've been doing it with no problem for 3 years. And I'd like to also mention that this free time, what historically happens is that students are basically allowed to get together and talk about whatever they want. So you have students that go outside and hang out and chat. You have students that hang out inside the school in empty classrooms and talk. Students can text. They can go to the restroom. They can get a snack. They can do basically, they can do a lot. And they can certainly talk about whatever they want. But for some reason, this September, the assistant principal called Chase into his office and said that Chase and his friends could no longer talk about what they were talking about.
I just sit here, and it's a good thing you can't see me unless you got your computer on and look at our webcam, because I'm furious about this. Here we are in the United States of America, and they're telling students that they can't pray during free time, but yet they pray every day in the House, they pray every day in the Senate, and at the presidential inauguration they pray. What right do these, and I'm going to be very blunt, Carrie, imbeciles have in telling students they can't bow their heads during a free time that has nothing to do with classroom study, and they can't pray? What right do they think they have?
I don't know, and they clearly don't understand the law, because for starters, so they're saying, separation of church and state, and which is just ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So for starters, the First Amendment, as we all know, it clearly protects the kind of activity that Chase and his friends are engaging in. It protects their speech, it protects their activity, but also what's very interesting is there's a 1969 landmark case, Supreme Court, Tinker, and that explicitly says that students do not shed their First Amendment rights when they enter the schoolhouse gates. And this is a classic line coming out of our Supreme Court. So the Constitution supports what these students are doing. The Supreme Court supports what these students are doing, and these educators really need to get on the ball here and start complying with the law, and also take a step back and remember the entire reason that they're in this field for the first place. These officials should be encouraging students to do this. I mean, these students are doing this all on their own. This is self-initiated. This shows leadership. They're taking ideas and they're fleshing them out for themselves. And one would think that the school would be thrilled that these students are choosing to use their free time in this way. So it's just all around. It's sad.
Okay, now, Carrie, let's get really down to the nuts and bolts of the problem. What do these imbecilic school board members and teachers and principals, what do they say they are going to do to the students if they continue to pray during this free time? What is their threat?
We're just saying they can't do it, hands down. And what's sad about it is that, so with Chase and his friends, the range of how many students who got together to do this during their free time, wildly fluctuated. But it actually had gotten up to a point, and this is pretty impressive, of about 90 students during their free time were getting together and do this. Yeah. And now the school came in and said, well, you can't do this. You can't talk about God like this. You can only do it before or after school. And so what it effectively has done is shut down this entire meeting because, a lot of the students can't get there early enough to do this. And then afterwards, they have extracurricular activities. Sure. So it went from something that was just really quite incredible to, 90 at its max to now we're talking about 10, 12, and it really is just deflated the whole thing. And again, when you think about it, just think about it. You could potentially be walking in the hallways and know that you had a bunch of high school students who were getting together and literally praying for their classmates, and just utilizing their minds in conversation about good things. The fact that the school would want to even shut this down, aside from the constitutional issues, it's so counterintuitive to what education is all about. It's mind-boggling.
There is a time and a place, Carrie, for insurrection. There is a time and a place to draw a line in the sand and say, no, you are wrong, I am right. There is a time and a place to understand the Constitution. And there is a time and a place to stick your chin out and say, we're going to do it anyway. You do not have the legal right to tell us no. I think these students should do that.
Right. What we're going to be doing is Alliance Defending Freedom is going to be requesting from the court an order that will temporarily stop the school from shutting down Chase and his friends. So, they're seniors. It's crazy. They've been doing this since they were freshmen, and it would be really sad for them to, the legacy that they've been building, to leave on this note as seniors who are graduating. They can't do this thing this last year they're there. So we're going to be asking the court to stop the school from censoring them as this litigation proceeds.
But, it's amazing to me when I read this note that came with this morning's program on what we were going to be talking about. How in the world could Assistant Principal James Lucas tell the seniors and the students that the meetings could continue, but any religious speech would have to stop because of the separation of church and state? Well, right there, somebody should have said, Mr. Lucas, would you care to show me in the Constitution where it says that? And just shut up and not say another word and let him hang himself.
And what's really ironic, too, about him citing that, like you said, first of all, it's not in the Constitution. And where do we find that, right? It's in a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote.
That's right.
And what was interesting, the whole purpose of him talking about the separation of church and state was obviously in reaction to, what had happened in England. The early American colonists were so concerned about the government, having a heavy hand of religion, so they were reacting to that, which is why Jefferson put that in the letter. But what's ironic is that he was writing it because it was about not wanting the government to over-meddle in the affairs of religion, to not have the government entangling itself in the way that it should. So what's so ironic is that this official is citing separation of church and state, when in reality he's violating it himself, because as a public school, this is a state that's an entity of government, and so they are 100% over-meddling and burdening the free speech and religious and assembly rights that these students have, and they're fully able to exercise during their free time.
What can we do? What can I do? What can my listeners do to absolutely pull the rug out from underneath these people? I will do anything necessary and that you find that would help. I just absolutely am so livid that these leaders, and I use the term loosely, would go in and try to dissolve these students from doing something good in their lives that is entirely legal, and they've made them, the school has made them out to be miscreants, and they're not. They're absolutely following everything they should.
Yeah, your listeners can certainly keep raising awareness for this. I mean, if they wanted to, I'm sure they could contact, and write letters or emails or just expressing that this is something that we don't tolerate in this country. We should be encouraging students to do the very kinds of things that Chase and his friends are doing and not shutting them down. And it really is. I said this at the interview that you saw over the weekend, but it really is a sad day in our education system when you have school officials who are going after students who are not only just freely engaging, and exercising the constitutional rights that they have and that they have and can do, but they're being the epitome of students. They're exchanging ideas. They're expressing themselves. They are fleshing out what matters most to them. So it's really sad that this is even happening in a school.
What do you think, Carrie, is going to happen when you've got some great individuals like legal counsel Matt Sharp and legal counsel Jeremy Tedesco and others and yourself all involved in this? Boy, if I saw you folks coming over the horizon, I think I'd put my tail between my legs and run. That's what the school board should do, and they should issue an apology. What do you think's going to happen?
Right. Like I said, the Constitution and Supreme Court case law is on our side on this. This is a very obvious constitutional violation of these students' rights, and so I'm hopeful, and I think we should be. I'm confident that the court will follow the law on this. The law is clear that these students have every right to be engaging in this self-initiated private expression of speech, of assembly, of religion, and so I think we'll have a positive outcome. But it's a shame that the school is fighting us on this still, and they're prepared to go into litigation. So we will see what happens.
Well, I personally am going to send them an email and let them know that I had you on my program and that my listeners are listening and very much aware of their not understanding the Constitution, and we'll see what happens. But, Carrie, you really knew how to get me to come out of the corner when the bell rang this morning, I'll guarantee you.
I figured this would be something that you'd be very interested in.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the program. And if people want to stay in touch with all of these stories, give us the different sites that they can check on for Alliance Defending Freedom.
Sure, they can go to alliancedefendingfreedom.org, or if they're interested in taking a look at some of the legal documents or some of the press coverage on the case, they can go to adsmedia.org.
Let us know what we can do, and I'll look forward to next week. I got to go take a blood pressure pill, so thanks, Carrie.
Okay, thanks, Deb.
God bless. Have a good day. Carrie Kupak with the Alliance Defending Freedom, a lovely young lady. Can you imagine? Just think about this for a minute. It's the students' free time. It's like a study hall, only they can do what they wish. It's free time. And so they got together, and they were praying for the school and praying for other students and probably some teachers. And then all of a sudden they're threatened by the principal, and he doesn't have a clue as to what the law is. He sounds like really a dim bulb, Assistant Principal James Lucas, because of the separation of church and state. Really, I wish I'd have been there, because I would have said, Mr. Lucas, please, we'll continue praying while you go find a copy of the Constitution, and please tell me where in the Constitution it says separation of church and state. We'll just keep praying until you find it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, I had kind of a question for you. What if it was the Muslims that was doing this? If we was to say something against them, then it would be a hate crime.
You know, you really bring up an excellent point of view here, because little by little we are seeing this creep into our society, and then when something like this does happen as a confrontation, we weaken, we being this country, like they did in New York for the parade, and where they let them basically bow down on their prayer rugs in the middle of an intersection, and yet they throw Christians off the street if they're standing on the corner. You bring up an excellent point.
Well, I seen this deal on Facebook today. It had this story in there that with this gal, was a Muslim gal, and she's in Canada, and she come up to the checkout to pay for her items and whatever, and she had the full headdress on, and you couldn't see her face, and the whole 9 yards, and she said something to the cashier about having a pin that had the country's flag on it. And she said, you know, my son is in the military. I wear this pin because of him. And this Muslim gal, totally went off the handle, I guess, about how, you know, these countrymen of hers were getting bombed by the Canadians and the Americans, and some good Samaritan behind her said, well, you know, you're pretty outspoken for a Muslim woman. You know, in your country, you'd be dead right now for even stating your opinions. But I'm glad that you can come to my country and complain about my country that you're living in and getting all these freedoms.
Yes.
Just to say something bad about them, rather than saying, you know what, I salute you for supporting your son and the military, and et cetera, et cetera. All she could do was complain that the Canadians were so bad to her people.
Yeah. You don't want to get me this morning started on that subject because I have a mindset after Obamacare and after the immigration mess, and then to get started on the Muslims and the way that they just beheaded another American citizen. When are we going to start showing the toughness that this country was founded on? And quite simply put, when are we going to start showing the John Wayne attitude to say enough is enough, back up, sit down and behave yourself, or we will end any sunlight for you tomorrow morning. I've had it. I am sick and tired of it, caller. We are a puny, wussy nation under this leadership, and it's about time we got our pride back.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
All right, sir. And thank you for your call. Excellent point this morning. Thank you very much. I am. My wife knows that I've taken off too many boots and almost thrown them through our brand new 60-inch TV. I've had it. We are not the tough nation we should be. We are not standing up for ourselves. We are not standing up for our citizens. I've had it. Calls, welcome, 436-2244. Weather forecast brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, all of this your family will enjoy the comfort through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Right now, here's the weather with Michael Rogers Weather.
Michael Rogers was at the ranch where every day is a good day, some days are better than others. Let me tell you about this weather. This is Alaska weather at its finest. I'm telling you right now, and trust me, I know this because I lived there 31 years. The only difference between this weather and Alaska now is that this is a nice day in Alaska. It's cold down here. And by the way, you're going to be cold all week. 29 for the high today, 10 above for the overnight low. There's a slight chance of snow for Wednesday or Thursday, but other than that, it's just going to be cold all week. Hey, keep a sweater on. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Thank you much. By the way, we're going to have another guest on the air with us in just a moment. Stand by. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. Now, they had a big customer appreciation sale, and they said, you know what? We just absolutely couldn't take care of everybody that was coming in, so we extended the sale. They've got great recliner buys. And by the way, they have got a display of recliners absolutely phenomenal. They got some for the tall people and the short people and for the skinny people and for those of us that are the other way. Anyway, they've got great recliners. They've got sofa love sets. They've got sofas beginning at just $3.99. They got dining room sets. Oh, my goodness. Aunt Martha, Uncle Fred, and the whole family coming over for Thanksgiving. You better have a dining room set where they can all sit and say grace together. You better believe it. All of this and more at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Right now, let's go down to the Golden Heritage Senior Center on Overland and Burley, and the lovely Linda, the manager of the Golden Heritage. Good morning, Linda. Sorry to keep you waiting.
This is Glenna. I'm going to take Linda's place for a few minutes.
Well, Glenna, how are you this morning?
We're very fine this morning.
Well, by golly, I'll bet you got your hair all prim and proper, and you're ready to tell me all about the Pilgrim's Pride dinner on Thursday, right?
Yes. We start at 5 p.m. and serve till 7. Our tickets are $5 per ticket. We're having turkey, ham, and all the trimmings. We want you to bring your family and join us.
Yeah, you know, that's the main thing. We want to urge everybody to bring their kids, everybody to bring the whole family, because there's going to be fun games and door prizes aplenty, and it's just going to be a great October, or I should say November feast for Thanksgiving, and everybody's going to be dressed up. It's going to be a fun evening, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and we do have a lot of fun games for the kids.
Oh, we do. We've got, tell us, we got the turkey toss, and what else have we got, Glenna?
And we got apple bobbing.
Okay.
And we have pictures that they're able to take their picture in a costume of either a pilgrim man or a pilgrim lady or an Indian.
Okay. Now, what are you going to dress up as?
I'm going to be a pilgrim lady.
Okay. And the dinner is absolutely going to be phenomenal. They're going to start serving at 5 o'clock, and then at 5:30, we're going to have a special flag tribute and special songs. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, and that will be the Youth of Liberty that's performing for us.
Okay. And it's going to start at 5, and it's going to go till whenever, right?
Whenever, absolutely.
Okay. Now, tell everybody where the Golden Heritage Senior Center is so they can all be there.
Okay, we're on Overland Avenue. If you can't see our address, we're right next door to the cemetery and across the street from the Chinese restaurant.
Okay. And starts at 5 o'clock, and they will not go home hungry.
Absolutely, they will not. We're having, a wonderful meal, turkey, ham, and all the trimmings.
Okay. Hey, Glenna.
And then we have that special door prize, our raffle that has a $100 bill in it.
Oh, now how do they go about winning that?
Well, our tickets are 1 for $1, 6 for $5, or from the tip of the nose to the end of the fingers for $10.
Okay, so buy a lot of raffle tickets and they might win the grand prize with a $100 bill inside. Holy cow. I'll tell you what, it sounds great to me, and I know you've really dressed up the senior center over there. It's going to be really, really nice.
We're expecting a lot of people to come and enjoy the atmosphere.
Have you ever done this before, Glenna?
I have never, not until you called.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, you better put your application in because you got a brand new career coming up.
Oh, thank you so much. Called retirement.
Hey, God bless you, Glenna. Thank you so much, and we'll be talking to you again.
Thank you for your call. Have a great day.
Thank you. The Golden Heritage Senior Center, first annual Pilgrim's Pride Thanksgiving dinner coming up this Thursday, November 20th, starting at 5 o'clock. Please, I don't want to get down on my hands and knees and beg, but I will. I really want you to be there because we need the money. We need the money for the Meals on Wheels to support the other seniors. There's a lot of shut-ins. And you know me, I've been on this program, and it's been one of my pet support groups for a long time. It just brings tears to my eyes to think how lucky I am to be able to get out and around and go do things, or maybe go to the grocery store, or maybe go to a rope and go whatever. But there are others that are shut in, and they can't go anywhere. They have to depend on somebody coming by and handing them a hot meal with the Meals on Wheels. And that may be their only contact with the outside world during that particular day. Please, help us continue that program and be there on Thursday night, this week, the 20th, from 5 to 7 or whenever, at the Golden Heritage. Please. Don't forget, too, our dear friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Hello, Dean. Hello, Todd. My goodness, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Oh, my goodness sakes, these guys are good. I was supposed to have lunch with Dean the other day. I saved him money. I couldn't make it. Anyway, by golly, you just get a hold of them today because they are accessible and devoted to serving others and are very focused on your successful future. Nice people, very professional. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. Oh my goodness, look who we haven't talked to her. Her feelings are hurt. She's sitting in her chair just absolutely twiddling her thumbs with boredom. Hello, Gina.
Actually, I wasn't. I'm very busy, actually, not boredom.
Oh, so in other words, this is your coy little way of saying, shut up and leave me alone.
Well, taking phone calls, submitting orders, trying to plan out what song I'm going to play on the outro, stuff.
You have been busy and you do a great job. I just was going to ask you if maybe you and James and Kennedy could come over to the Senior Center on Thursday night and have dinner with us.
Well, I would love to, but actually I have a date with the Minidoka County Historical Museum.
Oh. Yes. Not often that people can say they've had a date with a museum.
I know. But absolutely, if we have time, then we're going to scoot over there as well.
I was over there working for George last year.
Oh, at the museum?
Yeah.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, this year I get to work with George.
And you're going to be there with Scotty, too, right?
Yes, and my little guy.
Oh, Kennedy's going to be there.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna. Yep, he gets to work with the Youth for Liberty, so that's going to be fun. And then, so that's what we planned on.
Okay. Well, God's blessings to all of you. But
well, thank you.
If
so
you
much.
get a chance, we'd sure love to see you over there at that dinner.
I would love to see you too, and I'll definitely scoot on by if we have time.
Okay. Let's see what else have we got coming up here. I think that's about it. Busy morning so far.
Yes.
Coming up next hour, we've got, who in the dickens do we have? Oh, Matthew LaCourte. I forgot about him. And then at 10:30, we're going to talk about beer. Piqued your interest.
It did, too.
I'll be back in 6.
Okay.
I lost some of my papers. Imagine that. Here I was doing so good and keeping everything on the up and up, and Gina was proud of me this morning. I
was too.
I lost some of my cards. Oh, man, I had that thing all set up for this morning.
Did you misfile?
That's kind of a personal question, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to go through all my cards here real quick. Can you play that music for a second? Yeah, just keep it going for a second. We'll bore people to death.
Wait for Zeb to get himself on.
I found it. Okay, good. Now, see, all that is lost is not. Welcome back to hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Who says you got to be on the straight and narrow? I'm not. And we thank them very much, all 7 locations, along with Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969. Here's what I was looking for, and it's the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Yes, sirree, Bobby. Today, does this sound good? Orange chicken on spring mix salad with soup. Going to be good. Always is. At the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Great menu, great specials, really, really nice people at the Chadwick. Orange chicken on spring mix salad. Today, that's their special, which sounds delicious. Yes. And let's also tell you real quick about A Child's World, and then we'll get old Matthew LaCourte on our airwaves this morning. And we want to say thank you. Every Thursday we have, as you well know, the segment called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Holiday dresses are in, and books and puzzles and stocking stuffers, and everything is priced very competitively. Hundreds of new baby outfits are in there, too. Oh, my goodness, yes. And give a gift certificate for somebody who wears Cherokee or Dickie scrubs or shoes right there at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And then don't forget, too, the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes. Number to call, 677-8888. 677-8888. And now's a great time to take care of all the needed procedures that you need if you've met your deductible. And procedures like cataract and eye surgery, knee arthroscopes, and life-saving colonoscopies, all there at the Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, along with A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. We haven't had this old boy on the program for a long, long time. Matthew LaCourte, how are you?
Hey, Zeb, I'm doing really good. How are you?
Not too bad. My goodness, what have you been doing? I remember you used to be on this program every now and then. What have you been doing in the last couple of years?
Well, I went back to school, so I'm back at Hofstra University here in Long Island, New York, finishing up my degree, working on my senior thesis, just making sure I get the right education before I get out there in the world of work, the real world, as they say.
Do you remember, or are you old enough to remember comedian Bill Cosby?
I do, yeah.
He went to Temple University, and he was always telling on his comedic sketches his football playing days when they played Hofstra. Do you still have a football team at Hofstra?
Well, unfortunately, about 4 years ago, we cut the football team. So no more jokes from Mr. Cosby, and I don't get to go and watch my Hofstra Pride on Saturday afternoons anymore. So pretty disappointing for the both of us.
Okay. All right. Now, let's, Matthew, let me ask you this. You sound like a really sharp young man. You sound like a guy that really is proud to be an American. You sound like a guy that absolutely is going to adhere to the Constitution and the values of the red, white, and blue. How come the president can't do that with his baby signing illegal immigration reform? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I think that if immigration reform is going to pass in the U.S., in the coming years, it should be done constitutionally. It should be done not by executive action, but having the Congress pass some sort of legislation that fixes our illegal immigration problem and stops all the issues that we see that come from that. I am one that really thinks the United States needs to expand its legal immigration process so we can get rid of our illegal immigration issues. And I know that we're going to get more into this today, but I don't think we have to do that by executive action. I don't think the president has to do that by one swipe of his pen. I think we can do that constitutionally. I think we can do that through the Congress, and I think that we can make a better, more just immigration system that improves both those who are trying to come into this country and those who, like us, who are already here.
Matthew, I'm just going to state my position on a couple of things, and you can say I'm just an old white man that is mad and angry, and you know what? I am. I am mad and angry, and I am an old white man that absolutely is upset that people are coming across our borders right now as we speak. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea what purpose they're here for. We have no idea what kind of problems they're going to create. And he wants to sign basically for an amnesty program for $4.5 million and absolutely upset the apple cart on expenditures. And we, the taxpayers, probably will have to underwrite them on Obamacare. This is ludicrous.
Zeb, I think that your anger and frustration is justified in many ways. We do have people coming over our border in the dead of night through drug mules. We do have parents sending their kids up through Mexico. We don't know who these people are. We don't know why they're here. But I think that the problem that we really need to address is why we can't cut off illegal immigration. And I think it gets back to this idea that economists have. It's called the price premium. And it's really what makes the United States so great is that we are the richest, most prosperous country in the world. And no matter what we do, the type of restrictions that we place on these immigrants, the different policies that we have, they will try to come here no matter what because we are so rich and we are so prosperous. And there's more economic opportunity here than any other country in the history of planet Earth. Yeah. And I think that immigrants come and they bring their families to improve their economic status. They want to get out of places like Honduras, where they have the highest murder rate in the world, places with just grinding poverty, and they want to come to the U.S. And I think that our immigration system places a cap on how many people can come here legally every single year. But if you're a mother with four children and you're in Honduras and you see gunshots every day and drug lords running the streets, you would do nothing to stop your family from getting to the United States, getting to safety and opportunity, regardless of what the laws are. So I think that we need to recognize that as a country. And we need to realize that the only way to solve and end illegal immigration is by expanding legal channels to bring more people in where they can be regulated, legalized, signed up. We know who they are. We know why they came. We know their family history. We know all these things, so we can stop and we can limit crime. We can make sure that they're not here for bad reasons, and we can figure out who is inside of our border. Right now, we can't because the illegal immigration system is so incentivized. We can stop that by opening up legal channels to immigration.
Okay, now Matthew, you're a sharp young guy, and we're going to have a good debate on this because you overlooked one very important point in your scenario. Number one, by just allowing these people to come in, saying, saying, oh, well, they're being shot at and they live a life of misery, etc. You basically are giving a free pass to the Honduran government because they're not taking care of their people, but yet we're still sending them foreign aid. I say we need to make sure that the governments clean up their act and do the best they can for their people and not just be an easy way out to send them to the United States.
Again, I'm with you. I think that the United States shouldn't be giving out foreign aid, just billions and billions of dollars of taxpayer money that goes from citizens here in the U.S., and then we're just shoveling it to corrupt governments all across the world. We have no idea who we're giving this money to. It's ridiculous. We gave $37 billion of foreign aid last year, a nice chunk of our budget. We don't need to do that. Something like remittances, where immigrants come to the United States, they work, and they send money back, that accounted not for $37 billion, but for $100 billion last year that goes to helping local economies all around the world and helping the families of immigrants that come here and work day and night, 2-3 jobs in order to make money for their family. We can develop the world internationally through remittances. We don't need to do it through foreign aid and through taxing U.S. citizens and then spending that money around the world. We don't need to do that. We can stop doing that, and we can make sure the Honduran government is built up not by our money, but by money that immigrants choose to send back to their families.
All right, now, Matthew, also, you said the words earlier in your speech about rich and prosperous nation. Absolutely, we are. But now let's talk about that. We're rich and prosperous because of the American work ethic and the going out at 6 or 7 or 5, in my case, getting up at 4 in the morning and putting forth a product that is going to make money so that we can pay our taxes. We are a working society. We always have been for over 200 years. And you can't keep bringing people in to be a part of the system and receive part of the system, and then pretty soon the system is diluted, and instead of hot chocolate, you've got nothing but a watery chocolate sauce. And pretty soon somebody's got to pay the piper, and it's going to all fall apart.
Zeb, I know that I don't like watery chocolate sauce as much as you don't like it. And so this is what I think that we can do here. This is a fun debate, and I respect you and your viewpoint. I think that we're really having a good debate here. And I'm also scared about the prospect of bringing in millions of immigrants from around the world and just adding them to the welfare rolls. That scares me as a real free market guy. I don't like that type of economic system, and there's no way that that's going to enable us to be free and prosperous in 200 years like we are right now, or like we have been throughout the history of our country. But I think something that we need to think about here in this context is that when we have illegal immigration, we are continuing to incentivize people to work not on the books. And in that case, they can't continue to pay taxes into the system because technically, according to the government, they don't really exist here, right? They're just in this illegal web that we don't really know about. So they're paying sales taxes and things like that, but they're not able to pay taxes on the paychecks. They're not able to put into the system what they could be. And I think that that is an illegal problem. And if we had more legal channels, we would kind of start to get rid of that problem over the long term. The second thing is that I think what we need to do is build a wall around the welfare state and not a wall around our country. So illegal immigrants are ineligible for welfare benefits, and legal immigrants through 5 years of becoming citizens are also ineligible for benefits. And I think that we have to make sure that we keep those promises, that these people are ineligible for things like Medicaid and SNAP and all these other programs that we have, making sure that these people are not getting access to this public money. One more other thing that blew my mind when I thought about it, when I looked more into the research on this, is that immigrants on net, for the most part, are young, are working, and are men. And the welfare system in this country normally supports those people who are very poor and either older, younger, and are not working. And so by having a lot of young immigrants come into this country and work, if they were able to work above ground and get paychecks, not underground and get paid under the table, then they would be actually adding a lot more into our system because they're of that working age and not of that older or super young age. And so I think that if we, again, my main point, I'm going to continue to hit on this, is that if we have more legal migration, we let people into this country legally, we document them, they're able to pay more taxes, they're able to participate more in our economy, and then they're not taking away and building up that welfare state that me and you are both very scared of happening.
All right, but now I'm going to go back, and I love this conversation. You're a sharp young man. I will say this to what you said, and please, if I misquote you, tell me I'm wrong. You said you would rather see a wall around the welfare system than you would a wall around our borders. I disagree with you. We need to have both. Number one, we have got to close the borders to the point where I am in favor of putting the National Guard on the borders, because right now, as you know, Matthew, there are many, many terrorist cells that are using the borders. They have picked up many people that are connected with terror cells. The drug cartels, etc., are ruling the roost down on the Arizona-Texas borders. We need to close and secure the borders to make sure who's coming in is someone that's documented and legal. I will go along with what you said as far as the other items, but until we secure that border, we are not going to at all secure our nation.
Two things on that point, Zeb. I think it's a great point. But when this has been looked at in the years since 9/11, less than 0.1% of deportations, of immigrant deportations, are the result of suspected terrorism. So while it seems very easy for terrorists to come into the country, historically we haven't seen this happen.
No, wait a minute. I got to interrupt you right there. I think
that these are two things that we can agree on, something that Congress is incapable of doing right now. I want more legal immigration, and you want to close the border. I think that we can come to a compromise here, and I think we can agree on giving more money to ensuring that our border is secure, but at the same time ensuring that there's more legal channels, more visas, more guest worker programs to get more legal, regulated workers into our system. I think that we can come to a compromise on that, and if me and you were in Congress, we'd be able to pass some legislation to do what I want and to do what you want, to make the immigration system better, more balanced, and to also ensure we don't have this illegal immigrants coming across our borders.
Well, it is a little ambiguous, though, Matthew, when you say that we haven't done this and we haven't caught so-and-so, and the ones that we have checked, they're okay. We don't know, honestly, and you can't make a statement that you know who really is here and who isn't here, because if somebody's coming over the Nogales border out in the desert, you don't know who they are or what their intent is. And the other point I want to make is we did have a guest worker program with the H-2B program that federal government decided not to fund anymore, and they exacerbated the problem of more people coming in illegally. We've had all of these things set in place at one time or another, but it seems like our federal government shoots themselves in the foot.
And this gets back to conversations we've had all throughout the summer and last spring when I was on the show. And that's just that the federal government is just bad at almost every single thing that it does. And so absolutely, H-2B is a program that worked. We had a program in the 1950s called the Bracero program.
That's right.
Where we actually eliminated illegal immigration by 95%. Because we had a guest worker program that enabled agricultural workers to come over and work in like California, Texas, states like this, and then were able to go back home after the agricultural season ended. 95% of illegal immigrants chose the legal migration route when we had this program, and then in 1964 we got rid of it. You know, the federal government just has this history of everything that it touches. You know, we have talked before about Obamacare and about transportation policy. We're talking about immigration, all these things. The federal government has no idea what they're doing, and when they have good programs set up like you just outlined, they just throw them away for reasons we can't even comprehend. And so it's another reason to try to avoid having the federal government make all the decisions, having this huge, massive, bloated bureaucracy, and getting things back to state governments that are better equipped to handle situations on the ground and know what their local citizens want. I think that's a general theme of all our conversations, and a general theme of anyone who studies politics, that federal centralized power is never a good idea.
Okay, let's take this one step further then, and I've only got 3 minutes left, Matthew, so I apologize for I'm asking you to be brief on your answer. Right now, we've got a situation in California that's completely out of control with Governor Jerry Brown exceeding and going around the law and saying to the Department of Motor Vehicles, go ahead and issue all the illegal aliens driver's licenses. We're going to keep the offices open late at night, earlier in the morning, and he's exacerbating the problem.
Yeah, there are different states around the country that are trying different programs with their illegal population. But again, this is a problem because of the excesses of the illegal immigration system that's set up by the federal government. And states are just trying to find ways to find solutions because of the problems of having this bloated immigration system with so many people backed up. I think it's just another symptom of a larger problem, a problem that we really need to address, that the president wants to address using one swipe of his pen, and that we want to address using the real congressional process, having real debate, and letting the American people influence their legislatures on how to proceed forward. And that's how we should have it happen.
You know, I really enjoyed having you on, but now you got to promise to come back.
You got it. Anytime you want, Zeb, we can talk.
All right. Matthew LaCourte, I appreciate it. You're a sharp young man. And by the way, what are you going to be majoring in, and when is your graduation set for?
So graduation is next May. I'll be graduating with a degree in political science and a degree in economics.
Oh, well, listen, we need more people sharp like you, Matthew. You did a really good job, and I'll have you back so we can have another good discussion. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Ed. Have a good one.
God bless. Nice, sharp young man right there. I appreciate it. Matthew LaCourte, and glad to have him on the air talking about illegal immigration. Okay. Let's see, where in the world am I in my organized state of affairs? That's the problem that Gina can't acknowledge because she's little Miss Susie Perfect. I'm so organized, I can't find things.
That's just too funny. I'm sorry, I giggle.
I have more space on this desk than I have ever had in the last 4 years.
Does it freak you out?
It's really bugging me.
You moved outside of your comfort zone because you do not have the pile of papers as your comfort in your blanket.
You know, Randy built me this beautiful desk for this show, and it's a big desk. You've been here.
Yes.
And now it looks like a vast wasteland with all the room and everything, and I don't like this. I mean, I'm going to have to go back to being Sloppy Joe.
I bet you Deanne loves it.
She's not allowed on this side of the desk.
Oh, gotcha. You still have the toys up there for everybody to play with when they come to the show?
Oh, some of them, yeah.
Yes. Well, I do know that there are some guests, particularly Kelton Hatch, who always need something to play with.
Oh, he's just like a little kindergartner.
He's a fidgeter.
No, he comes over here, and you got to have a whole bunch of rubber balls and stuffed animals and everything. If you don't have a great big toy chest for that guy, he goes and kinks up all the cords.
I know. It's like, don't touch the cords. Here, take this pencil and play with it.
Yeah, we got this little toy chest, and it's got a little bear drawn on the outside of it, and it says Kelton's Toy Chest.
He's the only guest who has
the only one you got to worry about.
I know.
Okay, I got to pay some bills. I finally found what I was going to talk about.
Glad I could help you kill some time.
I'm glad you hit it with a fly swatter. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Why am I having a hard time with rehabilitation this morning? Rehabilitation. There, I said it 3 times. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, right behind Dr. Crane's office. Easy to find, 678-1191. Nick Greenwell and the rest of the staff. These are folks that really can help you with a broad mix of good exercises, and they've got that hydrotherapy in the pool. They've got the only pool around. Excellent sports medicine. Oh, I mean, man, if you're not feeling so good and you're kind of all kinked up and everything, that's the place to go. Nick Greenwell and the rest of the great physical therapists at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191, helping you get back to being you. Okay? I took a lot of time Saturday and I put all the commercials, everything on little notes. You know, I don't read commercials. I just make them up, and I got like bullet points and everything, and put these all together, and I'm so organized I can't find half the stuff I'm working with. Happy Thanksgiving from AMI, 719 Overland and Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door. Go nuts over their bolts. I tell you, that is a neat place. And support all your local businesses. They are the meat and potatoes, nothing fancy. And Alan, Corey, Eric, Rob, and the rest of the crew wish you a happy Thanksgiving at AMI. Pro Paint, 1116 Overland Avenue in Burley. Best stains and best paint, best advice, practical and appreciated gift certificates. You better get in there, and they're excited to get you all fixed up for your house for the holidays. Hey, happy Thanksgiving from Barbara and the crew at Pro Paint. And my buddy Joe Taylor, 1826 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-9400 with Carrie and Adams Realtors. Buy or sell real estate, one call does it all. Joe Taylor, best in the West, honest and hardworking, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. Right now over to Gina, and I'll be right back.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you very much and welcome back. The last half hour, we're going down the stretch like Secretariat this morning. And before we get our guest on the air, I'd like to remind everybody about Snyder's Surplus, 112 South, 200 west of Rupert. Oh my goodness, they just had 3 semi-loads with furniture show up, couches and chairs and filing cabinets and tea tables. Would you like a spot of tea? Mini fridges, everything, and they got all kinds of cold weather clothing and coveralls. My goodness sakes, it's not just your Army Surplus store. They've got everything. Brand new store, brand new merchandise at the same location, 112 South, 200 west of Rupert, and same friendly service, Snyder's Surplus. You stop over and see them today. We are going to talk about a subject we haven't talked about for a long time on this program, beer. And I can tell just by looking at this fellow's picture, just by staring at that smile and that look in his eyes, that this man, the managing attorney for the Pacific Legal Foundation, and his name is Mark Miller, this guy knows his beer. Right, Mark?
Yes, sir. I may have tilted back a few in my time.
Well, it's the look in your eye, and it's that smile that kind of gave it away. I mean, if I want to talk to a beer expert, your mug is right. Mug, notice there's a good play on words. You know all about beer. What in the world is this deal going on in Florida where they have banned growlers? Now, I have never heard that phraseology before. Tell us about it.
Sure, Zeb. Across the country, as you know, the craft beer industry has sort of taken off in the last, say, 10 years. And craft beer industry is, small-time business, people brewing their own beer and selling it locally.
Okay.
And sort of taking on the big guns, the Anheuser-Busch's and Miller Coors of the world.
Yeah.
And the craft beer industry has started eating into their bottom line. And the way the craft beers, restaurants or brewers will often sell their beer is in growlers. Growlers are simply jugs that you fill with whatever the local beer is, and you can take home or you could drink at the restaurant with a few friends. And there's different sizes, but the standard size is a 64-ounce size, and that's what we usually call a growler. And in most of the country, you would use that 64-ounce growler, which is roughly equivalent to a six-pack, a few ounces less. You would use that to buy your beer. But here in Florida, from a really silly law that I would just say is irrational, you can't buy your beer that way. It's illegal to buy your beer in that size.
Now, is this because of what reason? The big boys, the Coors and the Anheuser-Busch's, they're all mad and say that it's infringing on them? What's the reason?
Yeah, it's not entirely clear why the law was passed in the right after Prohibition. There was different rules about packaging for beer, but what we do know now is that now the 64-ounce growler has become the standard size that Anheuser-Busch, Miller Coors, InBev, that they have fought trying to fix the law. So regardless of why it was ever passed, the fact is now the law makes no sense. You can buy beer in the 128-ounce size container. You can buy it in the 32-ounce size container and buy two 32-ouncers, which would be your 64. but you can't buy that 64, which is the standard size, and really would be, like I said, sort of competitive with a 6-pack. And so every year the legislature has tried to fix this for the last few years, but the big beer companies and the distributors have fought it because it will hurt their bottom line.
Now, packaging-wise, Mark, you're going to have to help me on this because I'm completely unaware of this situation, but packaging-wise, a 64-ounce growler, a 6-pack, like you said, boy, I mean, it looks just like a good old jug and easy to take out of the cooler and take on a picnic or whatever, and they're against that, and they're trying to stop the sales, but they can get larger sizes or smaller sizes.
You're exactly right, Zeb. They can get the 128-ounce size. In fact, if you walk in to a craft beer restaurant or a craft beer brewery and you ask to have your 64-ounce growler filled, because in fact these have become collector's items and people will take them with them on vacation, which of course here in Florida is a large part of our economic base is the tourists. Mm-hmm. And if they come in with that 64-ounce standard size growler, the restaurateur will have to say, no, I can't fill it, but why don't you buy this 128-ounce size package instead, or buy 2 of these 32s. And the tourist just thinks the restaurateur is trying to rip them off. Because it makes no sense.
So how can this be changed? I mean, isn't this part of free enterprise that absolutely people should just leave it alone?
Well, that's exactly our feeling. It reminds us of what we saw in New York City a year or two ago, where the mayor was trying to tell people they couldn't drink their big gulps, and the courts had to tell the mayor, no, you can't tell people. People can drink their big gulps, whatever size of Coke they want. And here, we think the same thing. And so, since the legislature has had multiple chances to fix this law and keeps failing to because of the lobbyists for big beer, we've decided to take it to the courts and have the courts say this is unconstitutional. There's no rational basis for this law. The only reason for this law is to protect the bottom line of the big beer companies. Mm-hmm. That makes it irrational. There's no safety reason here. There's no protecting the public reason here, because you can buy more beer, you can buy less beer. You just can't buy this one size that happens to be the standard size for the craft brewer.
Now, Mark, are most of these, like you used the terminology, craft beers and craft breweries, are they getting larger, smaller, staying the same across the United States, or is this a brand new enlarging industry?
I would say you're right on that last point. It's not brand new in the sense that it's been around now a decade, maybe 2 decades, but it is certainly taking off. And that's why laws like this anti-growler law, this growler ban or prohibition, are so important for the InBevs and the Anheuser-Busch's of the world, because they are seeing their bottom line being eaten into. And so they're doing whatever they can to fight off the craft brewery industry, to fight off the small businessman who is making a better product. I think most people will tell you that the craft beers are going to taste better than the mass-marketed beers you're going to find. And you're also supporting your local businessman when you buy a craft brew or a craft beer. And so here at Pacific Legal, we are very much in favor of supporting the small businessman. And that's why we took on this case without any charge. We are representing them free of charge.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the processing? I mean, I'm just curious, do they have to go through the same processing and the same safety and health standards as a Coors or a Budweiser? I mean, are they on the same page as far as state permits, et cetera?
Sure. Now, our client in this case is just a restaurateur, so they're just selling the craft beer.
I see.
But the craft brewers would have to meet the health and safety requirements that any other brewer has to meet. In fact, what you find in most states is you have a 3-tier system. You have the system of companies that brew the beer, then you have an independent distributor, and then you have the seller. And those 3 are supposed to be independent of each other. Uh-huh. And really, this is where the rubber hits the road. If you're a craft brewer and you're also trying to sell your own craft brew, the distributors don't like that because they're the middleman. They want to distribute your beer and they want to get paid a little bit for that. And that's why the distributors have fought laws like the laws we're trying to fix here, the growler ban, because they want to do whatever they can to keep the craft brewer in a small part of the market where, yes, you can make you a little bit of money, but we're not going to let you make big money like the big brewers are making, because that would hurt us, the distributors.
Well, more power to you, Mark Miller. And as I said, you'll have to look at his face just one time, and you see a happy camper here, and he's representing a client that I think you're really having a good time with, aren't you?
We are. The Crafted Keg is a fantastic restaurant, a small family-owned business. The Piasekis, who have lived here in South Florida for decades, and they saw an opportunity. A few of them family members they travel as part of their work. They saw growler bars or breweries taking off across the country in the big cities like Atlanta, New York, and on the West Coast, San Francisco. And they said, we need to bring this to our small town in Stuart, Florida. And they've been very successful. But the one thing that's holding them back, or at least one of those things that's holding them back, is this silly ban on growlers.
Absolutely.
Makes people come in and think they're up to funny business.
Absolutely.
We want to fix it for them.
I hope you do. And I learned something this morning. I know one thing. Where's your home base, Mark? Are you in Florida?
Yes, sir. I'm in Palm Beach.
All right. When I get back to Florida, I'm looking you up because it sounds to me like a growler's in order.
That sounds great to me, though. I'd love to treat you.
Okay. Mark, thank you so much. Mark Miller with the Pacific Legal Foundation. God bless you, man. Thanks, and have a happy Thanksgiving, too.
You too, sir. Take care.
Thank you. I learned all about growlers and the craft beer industry. And in the state of Florida, the big boys won't let them sell the 64-ounce growler. I've never heard that terminology before. I'll bet I know somebody that has. Hello, Gina.
Actually, I have heard of growlers, and I do have a couple growler bottles sitting at home.
What do you know about these little companies? You know, the ones...
The microbrews?
Well, yeah, there's quite a few of them in the state of Idaho, isn't there?
Yes, there's quite a few in the state of Idaho.
Yeah.
There's, in Washington. They're popping up everywhere.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I have, where's that bottle? Deanne, can you come here for a second? I have a bottle on my shelf, and I'm trying to remember the name of this beer company. I think it's from way up north in your country.
Brewery?
It might be, like it was Moose Milk or something like that. I can't remember.
Moose Drool, and that's actually out of Western Washington, and that's the Deschutes Brewery.
Okay, hold on a second. She's going to hand me this bottle off my shelf. And it is Moose Drool, Brown Ale, and let's see, it says processed by the Big Sky Brewing Company, Missoula, Montana, bottled by Portland Brewing Company, Portland, Oregon.
It's good. Actually, Moose Drool is very, very good.
Now, I have not ever opened this bottle that was given to me.
Really?
No. And I got to tell you that I don't know if something happened on the inside of it or what, but it's a heavy bottle. It's heavier than regular. It's a 12 fluid ounce bottle, and it's...
it should be really, really dark brown.
Oh, it's really, really dark brown.
With like maybe a lighter tan silk at the bottom.
Yeah. And the picture on the label is not really that appealing of a great big bull moose drooling all over the label.
Yes.
Thus the title, Moose Drool.
Moose Drool. And honestly, it is a fantabulous beer, and technically you should be serving it warm.
Oh, really?
Room temperature.
Like drool?
Yes, like drool.
I see.
Well, it's kind of along those same lines as Guinness.
Oh.
Yeah, and Guinness you always serve at room temperature.
Well, see, on this program we go to great lengths to make sure that all of the public is served with a Moose Drool.
Moose Drool.
Yes, there we go.
Yes, and honestly, when you ever decide to actually pop open that bottle, what you want to do is get your glass out and then pour the beer over an inverted big spoon, like your big old tablespoon. Pour it over an inverted big spoon with that spoon up towards the glass, because you want the froth on the top should be nice and creamy, and so it helps with building that head on the top of the beer.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Why you ask me all of this stuff, I don't know, but...
How did you learn so much about Moose Drool?
We served it a lot up in northern Idaho.
You know, I'm sitting here just absolutely stunned that a young lady of your stature and rapport would have all this. I mean, you had a Encyclopedia Britannica of moose drool.
Yes, and honestly, you could actually pull a trick like you do with Guinness, and you can do half and half. You do like the bottom half is like just your normal ale, like you can choose the Hales Pale Ale, and then on
Hales
top,
Pale Ale.
Hales Pale Ale. Mm-hmm. It's a blonde.
Yeah.
And then you can actually layer beers. And so then what you want to do is you could put the moose drool on top, again taking out the spoon and pouring it gently on top of the Hales Pale Ale, and then you will actually get a separated glass. The bottom will be the Pale Ale, and the top will actually be the moose drool.
Why did I exhaust the time and the effort of calling that lawyer in Florida when I've got the #1 connoisseur of moose drool right here on my program?
Oh, moose drool is good stuff. And honestly, there is a brewery up in northern Idaho. I think it's still there. It's a Coeur d'Alene Brew Pub, and they actually brew their own beers there. And they have the Ale House in Moscow, and great beer. Great.
Now, we had at one time, Deanne, don't we have some other bottles of some other weird names up on that shelf someplace? I can't remember. We had some other weird names. There was something about a honeybee. I can't remember where that came from. Anyway, she's looking, and if you've ever been in my office, you can appreciate the fact.
You got liquor cabinet, don't you?
Well, wait a minute. She found another one. She found another one. Hold on. And this one is, I can't believe it. Naughty Nellie's Ale.
I've never heard of that one.
Naughty Nellie's Ale. And let me read this to you by the Pike Brewing Company.
Oh, yes.
And it says at the bottom of the bottle, a salute to Nellie, who once ran an infamous, whoops, can't say that on the air.
Brothel.
Something like that.
Yes.
At our original brewery location. Refreshing and just a little adventurous.
Nellie's Ale?
Yeah. Naughty Nellie's Ale.
Naughty Nellie's Ale.
And on the back it says a crisp, refreshing session beer.
Okay, that one you want to serve cold, very cold.
Why?
Because it's probably really hoppy.
Hoppy?
Hoppy. It's going to have a lot of hops in it. Is it like a lighter blonde colored ale?
Well,
is what I'm thinking of. And so those you want to serve on the cold side. So right about 36 degrees is the optimum temperature for that beer.
Okay, it says if you're in Seattle, visit the Pike Pub and Brewery
at
1415 First Avenue in Seattle. Mm-hmm. And it says this about the beer. It says Naughty Nellie's Ale, mild and fruity, with just enough hops to balance the sweetness of the malt.
Yep. So it's going to be on the hoppy flavor. So
I have never opened these bottles.
Don't. Those are like collectors.
Are they really?
Oh, yeah. Especially, how long have you had them? Probably a while.
Yeah, and how long have they been up on that shelf? At least 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I would.
Don't open them?
Don't open them.
Okay.
Don't open them. But honestly, you know what? For Christmas, I think I'll get you a multi-pack.
She says they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah, they could be. Yeah. So don't mess with them because they're in the beer world. An unmessed with beer bottle with beer still in it is can fetch a pretty penny, especially to the right collector. Don't open them though, and don't drink it because they've been sitting on the shelf too long.
Who knew? Who knew Naughty Nellie's would be on my program?
Yes, Naughty Nellie's. Of course, now I just got the perfect idea of what I'm going to get you for Christmas.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of people that probably are thinking what I should get for Christmas out there. I'm telling you. Anyway.
When did Zeb Bell Show turn into the Beer Connoisseurs Hour?
Yeah, the Naughty Nellie's.
The Naughty Nellie Hour.
I can't say too much. We got to have the weather right now quickly before we're thrown off the air. And the weather is brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome. 324-7657 is the number to call. And they sell taste one bite at a time. And by the way, how does a smoked ham or smoked turkey sound for Thanksgiving? Well, order yours right now at Scarrows Meats. 324-7657. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Michael Rogers with Zeb at the Ranch, where every day is a good day, some days are better than others. let me tell you about this weather. This is Alaska weather at its finest. I'm telling you right now, and trust me, I know this because I lived there 31 years. The only difference between this weather and Alaska now is that this is a nice day in Alaska. It's cold down here. And by the way, you're going to be cold all week. 29 for the high today, 10 above for the overnight low. There's a slight chance of snow for Wednesday or Thursday, but other than that, it's just going to be cold all week. Hey, keep a sweater on. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
And the weather brought to you by our friends Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, selling taste one bite at a time. You know, Gina, going back to that beer for a minute, is there a longevity period of the beer in the bottle not being refrigerated that all of a sudden it's going to go, woo, bad?
Some beers, like the Moose Drool, is meant to be served on the warm side, so it can withstand as long as the temperature, it's in a place where the temperature doesn't fluctuate too much, then it probably can be served at any given time. There are some beers, like the Nellie's beer that you have, that is meant to be served cold, and so it needs to be constantly kept at a cold temperature for it to retain its flavor without getting kind of a weird taste, or it's just not going to be, how do I want to put this? It's not what the manufacturer...
How do you know, honestly, and I'm not trying to be facetious, how do you know all of a sudden that it is gone south on you?
Well, normally beer does have a shelf life. You know, most beers, especially like our domestics, they are meant to be kept cold. And so if they get above the storage temperature, because let's take Coors for example. Coors is supposed to be served and kept at a temperature of 34 to 36 degrees. Once it breaches that 36-degree temperature, then it's no longer, it kind of develops a different flavor. So when you pop open that can or the bottle, it's going to have a little bit of a bitter flavor for it, which it's not intended to have. It's supposed to have that, it's supposed to be kept at a constant temperature. Now, there are some beers, like Guinness and like Moose Drool, that you can serve warm, so it's got a longer shelf life.
I am sitting here with my chin dropping down at your knowledge, your encyclopedia of knowledge on Naughty Nellies and Moose Drool.
I know a lot about beer. I was a bartender for a long, long time.
Holy smokes! I'm trying to take notes, but you're talking too doggone fast.
Okay, well, here's a good rule of thumb.
Okay.
The darker beers, most darker beers, you can serve at a warmer temperature.
Okay.
Most of your pales and your ales and your lagers.
What's the difference between a pale and an ale?
It has to do with the hops and the barley. And whether whether they inserted honey or more sugar, because with the honey and the sugar, you're going to create more of a fermentation, and so honestly, the longer those sit, the more alcohol content that they will get.
I just had a text come in from a listener, and evidently there's some people out there that are pretty up on what to do with skunky beer. They said beer becomes skunky. It's really good to use in homemade bread.
Yes, because of the yeast factor.
Oh.
Yes.
So bring all your skunky bread over to my house.
Yes.
Or skunky beer.
Yes, skunky beer, and not only that, but it's honestly pretty good to cook with. You can cook with it.
Now, there's a guy by the name of Jimmy Brockman. And Jim is a Chef Boyardee extraordinaire, and for the Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame dinner last year, he had some beer bread that absolutely would knock your socks off. Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got to do a commercial while I'm still on the air. Okay. I can see Kim Lee saying, "Oh my gosh, they're talking about a brewery." Well, just Moose Drool and Naughty Nellies.
Naughty Nellies.
Yeah, and you know her. You went to school with her, didn't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Anyway, let's not forget our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All your winter driving needs, all your traction tires, all your pin for studs tires, they've got them all for you. And boy, the way the weather was this last weekend, you better check on that today. I mean, man, you don't want to be stranded at the bottom of the hill when all your friends are at the top of the hill. And check out all the tire buys. Check out all the great battery buys. And, of course, don't forget the shocks and struts and the front end alignments and the best in brake service. The best in brake service for you and your vehicle right there at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, what started off to be a little 10-minute segment with the attorney in Florida talking about the growlers turned into an education extraordinaire with Gina, and you really know your beer, so I'm never, ever going to ask any questions of anybody else. I'm coming to you.
I know about beers and scotch.
Not necessarily in that order.
Not necessarily in that order, but because I did work at an establishment, actually several, going through college, and so I learned a lot about beverages.
And who says you will not further your education listening to this talk radio? I'll tell you what.
You'll never know.
Anyway, that was interesting. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tomorrow, we've got a really full program. It's going to be excellent. We expect everybody to be here right on time at 8:06, and we'll ride the horse for 3 hours here on KBAR 1230 AM and then on ZebBell.com across the world on the internet. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you tomorrow morning, Zeb at the Ranch.